Hey everyone, welcome to the very first live stream for the Axiom Chronicles. My name is Luke Bolin, and I am executive producer and also a writer on the show. Guys, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Coben Rudish, writer, producer, creator of Axiom Chronicles.
I'm Dylan Wheelock, art director, producer, creator on Axiom.
I'm Sean. I am director and editor of Axiom Chronicles.
So today we will be talking about the Axiom Chronicles and how you can support it. Plus, we're going to show you a never before released brand new trailer for the show, so stick around for that. That'll be towards the end. Before we get to the show, I want to let everybody know that we're currently testing the waters to gauge interest for the show, but I can kind of let you know a little bit about what that means. Many of you are familiar with the Angel Studios model. Angel Studios is not like Netflix or Hulu that buys shows and basically gives filmmakers nothing. Instead, we partner with Angel Studios to distribute the film, and we as filmmakers work with you to help create the show. Right now, you can express interest in the project and actually own equity stock in the project. So express interest now and be the first to know if we do open crowdfund. Okay, so
This message is brought to you by our lawyers.
Yeah. So who are we and what is Axiom? So first, let's start with Axiom. And Coben, you do this best. So
Do you want it in the
I think you should do it.
The
Yeah.
Axiom Chronicles is an animated sci-fi action-adventure series about a teen boy named Rake who is chosen by a cosmic power to save his people and the planet from an evil force of robots called the Mechno Hive.
Did the face, he did it. Did the face.
So the Axiom Chronicles for us, at least I know for myself, is a culmination of everything that we love. Sci-fi, robots, tons of action, and of course a really good story with heroes and characters that you can actually care about.
You can speak for us on that.
Yeah,
I think we all agree.
We agree with that.
I'm going to try not to monopolize this conversation. I'm just considered the host, so I'm trying to lead the conversation. So a little bit of a background on who we are. We have been working together for years now, creating live action animated videos for a wide range of clients, everything from national clients like Nike and Pepsi to like startups, local, mom and pop shops even. And through these years of, working together, we have always wanted to tell our own stories, and we have over the years, and here and there were short films and whatnot. But this animated series, Axiom Chronicles, has been a labor of love for all of us. And, I think getting to the point where we are today is somewhat of a dream come true for us. I know that we have poured so much time and effort into this to build it and resources, and we're so excited to be where we're at right now with Angel Studios and having this opportunity to work together with Angel as a distribution partner potentially down the road, which would be just phenomenal. Let me get to the very beginning of how Axiom Chronicles started. So I first heard about Dylan Wheelock through a friend of a friend, and he had a job interview with me, and we started talking about what are some of his skill sets, and he had these notebooks, and he opened up these notebooks, and I started to look at these different pages of these sketches and just these incredible characters and these worlds that he was kind of creating, and I was like, this is amazing. So literally I was driving back to the office and I called Sean. I was like, Sean, we got to hire this guy Dylan. He's unreal. And I said, Coben's got to meet Dylan too, because I think they're going to totally hit it off. And so Dylan came in and we started to formulate a plan to how do we bring this world to life?
Right.
And then Sean had this idea.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about doing an action sequence from the beginning, and I think it was very nerve-wracking because, you're trying to do your client work all along, that you're trying to do some sort of passion project, but Dylan and Coben were definitely up for the task of writing something. And so I think we kind of came up with I feel like there was like multiple iterations of this thing.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I remember doing an animatic at one point, and then we completely like just scrapped it altogether and started something new, and went down the road of like creating kind of a train heist. You know, like the Axiom crystal kind of being the thing that they were after, and Dylan always wanting the Axiom Chronicles to be a mixture of, the Old West meets, sci-fi. And so that's kind of where we landed, was this 4-minute sort of action sequence where Rake was after the Axiom crystal, whether he knew that's exactly what it was or not. Like that's what they were after.
Yeah.
So that was obviously a very interesting time.
But it's funny because it started out as let's do an action sequence to see if we can actually animate something that looks good.
Yes.
And then it looked so good.
Yeah.
We were like, wait, what if we actually tried to tell some stories?
Yes.
And then it became 4 minutes, became 10, and many, a couple of years later.
Right.
But
It was great because like at one point when we kind of realized, okay, well, there might be something here, guys, like other than just a cool action sequence with these characters. Like, Cobe and Dylan kind of got together on a regular basis, and like, we're so excited about this world and these characters, they started to like expound on it. And,
Yeah, Dylan, I think, you had a kernel of an idea and maybe like 4 to 6 characters.
Yeah.
And then Luke was like, hey, why don't you guys get together and see what you can grow this into? And that's when we like really started leaning in and defining like, well, but what if this? Oh, but what if that? There was a lot of, if we had a nickel for every time we said, but what if this? We could fund the show.
It's true. Very true. Yeah. I mean, those were fun. Tuesday nights became the tradition of, all right, Tuesday night, Axiom night, we'd go and hang out in Coben's amazing office/toy museum that he has, this amazing collection. And under the many, many toys and Transformers robots and all these things, I think they helped a lot. Just looking at all of the robots in the room.
It was easy to find inspiration. What if you had horns like that guy?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, this what we're seeing right here is like some clips from the first trailer that basically the pilot that we created. We used this to essentially try to find a partner to create this show with. And we had lots of great opportunities and doors open for us with different, large streaming services and different distribution partners. But the thing we kept running into was, was it enough of the right exact messaging and niche for Hollywood? Or, probably the bigger thing was, taking the risk on an original IP, intellectual property. And so that was something where we kind of kept running into some hurdles. And then my buddy Chris Wall, I saw his success with Wingfeather Saga, and I was like, I really should look into Angel Studios and just see, what kind of opportunities are there. And then the more we went down that road, the more I was like, this is amazing. Just the kind of creative freedom that you still have. You don't, you can have so much control. If a lot of people don't know this, but when you, as a creator, go to I don't want to say any names, but to another big studio, you basically sell that whole property and everything to them, and you're lucky to get a producer credit on it. So with this, we're like literally writing the show we want to write. We're able to create the show we want to create. So we couldn't be happier right now with this whole thing. So so that's a quick overview of Axiom. I mean, we can dive deeper into the story. We can dive deeper into whatever, but maybe we should open it up to questions here in a little bit.
Yeah, good.
In a little bit, we'll be kind of revealing the big, the trailer, which we've been working on for a while here.
Yeah.
We felt like it would be good to do something that, because the initial piece that we did, the 11-minute piece of animation, was primarily, like Sean said, this action sequence, train heist, and it didn't really dive deep into our main character, Rake. And so we wanted to kind of tell a deeper story with that. So we did this trailer. And I think it really, for us, we feel pretty strong about it. It hit the mark, and we hope you guys dig it as well. But,
yeah.
Anyway, we'll open up any questions at this point, and we can kind of keep moving along. If you want to keep talking about Angel, like about making the show.
Sure. We could do. I mean, even the. We have a question.
We have a question.
Look at this. Look at this.
What, Thomas?
Something about Transformers.
Samurai
Jack. Yeah.
As a kid.
This is good.
Okay. Love
This is all
Transformers
good.
and Samurai Jack as a kid. Just curious if you have started casting voices yet.
That's a fun story, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is fun.
So that's a go ahead.
we pretty much we have rate cast, and the way it came about, Joe Brogy is he's from Nebraska, and he heard about and saw the original piece of animation we did, and he reached out to us.
Yeah, he reached out. I actually found the email, and he was like, he wrote you and I, and through another friend of a friend that said, yeah, you guys should really talk to these guys over at Edison Creative. They are looking for some voice talent and stuff. So
he had done a voice for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game. I think he was
Donatello.
Donatello, right? Yeah.
Weirdly enough, this is a very strange, this is how small Nebraska and Omaha is. He used to be roommates with my youngest sister's husband. My brother. It's a very strange.
Omaha, Nebraska sound really small.
It's very weird. We're all at the town hall meetings. He would have been there. But it's just it's very strange. And I didn't know this until after he had done the voiceover, and we were at some sort of family event, and Alex, my brother-in-law, was like, I used to live with Joe Brogy, and I was like, what?
But anyway, Joe is a super talented guy. He's also a magician, which is amazing.
Also true.
His magician
his card tricks are just unreal,
mind-boggling. Anyway, he hooked up with us, and he did the VO for our pilot test animation that we did, and he did a great job. I mean, he's got a really, he's got an awesome range, so he can sound young, he can sound old. But then he moved out to LA to pursue his dream of being a VO actor, and he's landed some really great roles already. He's done some commercials, and he had a lead role on a cartoon by a studio that is large.
We can't say it. I don't know.
But he's a super talented guy, and even though he's out in LA, I think we talk to him once a week, and he's down, and he's as excited as we are at the possibility of
he's a networker. That's what that guy is, and so he uses his magic.
Literally.
And to go to these events and network with studios and executives and things like that. And so
even Joe was responsible for our very first pitch to at the time an up and coming huge streaming service. And he did magic for the president of the company.
He was kind of
kid's birthday party.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was whatever you got cooking, man, I'll listen to your pitch.
Right.
And Joe said, I got these guys back home making this cool cartoon. You guys should check it out. And we literally got the opportunity to go pitch. And
fly out.
It was our
to
first
California.
pitch.
That was HBO Max, right?
Yeah. So thanks, Joe.
But all that to say, voices, we have him, Joe, kind of starting off, kind of gathering people to send us VOs and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean we have everything casted. So we've even talked, because of being in Omaha and some of the short films that we've done, we've kind of gotten into a really cool community of local actors that there's a couple of them that we would love to use them in the Axiom. So we're not we have everybody cast.
We do have some notable networks too in LA through Joe, of some really A-list voice talents too. So there's lots of great options right now. We're trying to keep them open until we have some sort of more concrete, funding. Which, if you just go to angel.com/Axiom.
Look at that plug. Look at that plug.
Very nice.
Express interest, please.
But really, this is a dream come true for us right now, guys. We are really excited about this. The upcoming weeks, we'll have more live streams, and we'll talk more about the show, the characters, the world, we'll kind of really, dive deeper into that stuff. Right now, I kind of want to just give you an overview of who we are and, what this show is. And, we're pretty jazzed about it. Is there any more questions?
Yeah.
All right.
What we got?
Main
Carlos.
sci-fi inspiration. Looks unique.
Ooh.
The main inspiration is sci-fi.
Yeah, right.
All of it. There's definitely heavy Star Wars vibes. There's definitely who?
Star Wars.
Yeah. Not beat for beat. But, also just the realm of sci-fi and it being something familiar yet completely unfamiliar, and using that as a way to escape.
Yeah.
Just the escapism of sci-fi, I think is I think when we all dream, the four of us, there's laser guns and energy blades and and giant robots and it's kind of a melting pot of all the things we love.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely obviously very Samurai Jack, very, kind of early 2000s animation. I mean, that's kind of what I grew up on doing and watching and then trying to emulate and, sketchbooks and all that stuff. So,
I mean, it's a desert planet too. So like we have conversations all the time about all things sci-fi. So we'll reference Dune sometimes. We'll reference, random obscure 80s.
It's more
cartoon.
The more obscure, the better. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because then you get the weird stuff. That's the goal.
There's definitely, I think too. I mean, I know sci-fi isn't always fantasy.
Right? Sure.
You know what I mean?
True.
But there's definitely a heavy fantasy influence too of giant monsters and maybe a sword is better than guns.
Yeah.
It's not.
I think the thing for us is that at the heart of it, we're trying to be very conscious of like this. Sci-fi is the wrapping. It's the world. It's the thing that gets us really excited about the setting. I think the story is probably at the heart of it, probably the most important thing for us, and we can all definitely agree on that.
Well, I was having a similar thought in that sci-fi is really just the setting. It's the set piece to tell a story about a person.
Yeah.
To tell the story about someone who finds themselves and finds their purpose. And all those good sci-fi movies and cartoons that we grew up on and stuff, they wouldn't be good stories if they didn't have that human element.
Yeah.
And again, this is our favorite set piece to then tell a story that is about the human element.
Yeah. I mean, we in our, I'm sure as you guys will see, some of the promotional material that we've created for this, we talk about how it's a mix between Star Wars meets Matrix, meets Prince of Egypt, which the reason why I say Prince of Egypt is because season 1, there's a lot of parallels to the Exodus story. We take beat points from that directly in a few places. So it's not Moses. It's not necessarily the Moses story, but it is very similar in a lot of beat points. Rake is, I don't want to spoil too much, but we'll get to the story later. I don't want to say that yet. But yeah, I think that there's this idea of a higher calling and a calling and a purpose to your life, and I think that resonates through the whole show and will resonate through the whole show and all the seasons that we will make.
That's right. That's right.
If you just go to angel.com.
Wait, there's too much laughter. That's angel.com/Axiom.
Come on. Let's
express that interest.
One of these has
smash that interest.
Yes, smash that interest.
One of these has to be like an old, like a midnight DJ voice. I need you to work on that for the next one.
Yeah.
Like very smooth.
I did get one of those.
Welcome to Axiom Quiet Storm.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
Jason,
is the show appropriate for kids? Absolutely.
Yes.
8 to 12 is the demographic. We all have going to have kids soon.
Soon to be.
Look at this guy. Have kids. And they're all the demographic for this show.
I think we've taken a very like Ninja Turtles approach to this. Like, I remember when I was 5 and Ninja Turtles came out, like from comic to show, it was like, if these guys are going to use their weapons, the foot soldiers have to be robots. And so that's kind of like been our kind of goal is like, I mean, obviously it's the organics versus the Mechno-Hive, the robots. And so I think like, yes, there's the violence, but it's I think it's organics versus robots and smashing of you know robot parts and things like that.
We took a big cue from Samurai Jack in that you know, the 90s Bureau of Censorship, whoever that association is, you know, they said, no, you can't use a sword to cut up living things, but robots are okay. And so we figured, well, that seems safe, and why not? You know, robots are easy to make evil. So,
and to be honest, like, go ahead.
Oh, I'd say on the flip side too, with some of the images that just flashed over your screen, there's a lot of like comedic elements too. There's a lot of funny. There's 2 characters or 2 in 1. You know, this is an early concept of Doonbot, which is pretty much our comedic foil of our story. Where there's where there are moments where it gets kind of scary or dark or a little heavy in our character's journey, but then he meets his best friend who becomes or is a robot, becomes something even more important to him than.
But he's not part of the hive.
There's a little
drop that little nugget for you guys. Sure. Find out what that means later. But
a lot of laughs too, and we had a lot of fun doing some comedic exploration in our story.
My 6-year-old, but I mean he was way younger than that when this whole thing started. His name's Rowan, and he's watched every iteration, even this new trailer, and is like, he's always prayed that this thing will be a show, and so like we're just trying to make that happen. So if he's not scared of it, then like I think we're in good company. So
no pressure. Don't if Rowan is out there just waiting for the show to be made. If you go to angel.com/Axiom and just express interest. Also, I mean, so it's for kids, but also we're making it for ourselves. I mean, like the thing, we want to make a show for the whole family to watch. That's what we love about a lot of Star Wars stuff too, is like, we sit down, we watch Mandalorian together as a family, or, different, like Ahsoka now.
Seriously.
It's really good.
I remember in the early days when my kids were younger, I would come into the room and they'd be watching something, I won't name things, and I would have to leave. I would have to get up and leave. And rarely was there a show that would pop up that I was like, you know what, I'm into this. I want to watch this with them. And I think from the get-go, one of our goals was to make a show that's not that annoying sound coming out of the TV while you're trying to wash dishes and you just can't wait till it's over. You want to go in there and watch it with them. So you hurry up and you get the dishes done so you can go sit down and watch it with them,
Right. With all of our kids, I'm the crazy one. I have 4. I value like movie nights and even going to the theater with like all of our kids, getting the popcorn, and it's over this past year I've been more excited about like Mario and Into the Spider-Verse and the Ninja Turtles movies than a lot of the like adult movies that have been coming out, because it's stuff that we can go see as a family and enjoy it, and us as parents we're enjoying just as much as the kids are.
Just as engaged.
I mean, I was when we go to Target, we want to buy the toys probably more than the kids did, because it was such a nostalgic, like, I remember when the Ninja Turtles came out when I was a kid, and like you'd go and the shelves would just be completely bare and you would just be looking for the one that you wanted, and it was kind of recreating that experience with the recent Ninja Turtles movie, because it was so amazing, because as soon as we went to Target, we would go right to the toys, and there was literally that one that my oldest Finn wanted that they were out of. It was that same feeling, and it was very nostalgic, and it was pretty awesome.
That's a great segue, because I think like so much of we talk about, and honestly a lot of the campaign that we're doing our promotional material centers around this idea of Saturday morning cartoons and like that feeling that you had every Saturday morning running downstairs, getting that bowl of cereal, sitting down, and like getting ready to watch for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, 4 hour block.
A whole block of cartoons, because like
I ain't got time for pants. Cartoons are on.
That's right.
and I mean, it was just, I don't know, like we all had this huge nostalgia kick while making the show that like, we're kind of putting all of the things we want to see into one show.
Mm-hmm.
All this drawing from inspiration from our childhood and the things that we've seen and we love, and kind of putting it into this thing. And so, yeah.
We talk a lot about just, the shows we grew up on, through the 80s into the 90s, because we're a nice, big, wide, broad
age range
between us, the four of us. Yeah. But they really did, like, they helped define they helped me define what's good and what's bad.
Right.
Yeah.
4-year-old me watching a cartoon on Saturday morning, I'm like, oh, I get it. Yeah. That's bad, and that's why it's bad. Mm-hmm. And that's why the good guys are going to stop them, because they know what's right.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's as prevalent as it was then.
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we want to kind of get back to the roots of where we all came from.
Sure. Bad guys, there's good guys. And,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, at the core of it, we just want to tell a good story. And I will keep saying that, but I'll be a broken record on that.
No, yeah.
Oh, of course.
For the rest of the time here. But we got another question.
Another question.
Love the designs.
Jessica.
Will there be merch in the foreseeable future? Will there be merch?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Yes, there will 100% be merch in the future.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you go onto the Express Interest page now, there are examples on there of, think about it. What did we love as kids? Backpacks, lunch boxes, water bottles, bed sheets, apparel, t-shirts, of course, sweatshirts.
Yeah, books.
The big thing that in our hip pocket right now, so we got a 3D printer here in the office. Coben got one. And it's been like a hobby for Coben and Dylan to like think through, how do we do this 3D printing? And so maybe next episode,
because Dylan has done a bunch of work.
Yeah.
What's the studio that you do?
For Horseman Studio.
Yeah. And so he's done a lot of like
apocalyptic.
Yeah, action figure design and like all these like special like side things, which have been super rad. And so over the past like month now, they've been trying to print a
prototype
of
Rake.
Yeah. So maybe next episode or episodes to come, we can show you some progress there. We've been doing some 3D models as well in terms of what that could look like, some rotations, and
I got a whole plan for a whole line of toys. Whether or not that happens, we'll see. But.
So will there be? Absolutely, because you can't have a TV show for kids.
Yeah.
And
well, you can't inspire a child.
I didn't see who that was, but thank you.
You can't inspire a child's imagination.
Yeah.
Without giving them something to enact their imagination on.
I remember the first season of Mandalorian came out, and we were all sort of like flabbergasted that they didn't have toys ready, like out of the bat of like Grogu and like Mando and stuff like that. We were just like, what? Like because the 80s were the Wild West. Essentially, all cartoons were just giant commercials. Oh, thanks, Chris M.
Chris M.
Thank you.
You the best.
For toys. That's essentially what they were.
Well, in the 80s, it worked the other way around. The toy company went to the animation studio and said, can you make us a weekly commercial for our toy line?
Yes.
And so it doesn't work that way anymore. No. But in our minds, it's all the same.
I mean, when I'm talking to the team, the marketing team at Angel, they're kind of like, okay, just let's focus on the here and now. Like we love to just dream on this thing, and we have so many ideas and thoughts on merch and toys and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, because we're living with, especially when we have kids and stuff like that, we're living with the demographic.
Yeah, you are.
We know, and like as soon as like the kids watch something, they immediately want to go play with something. They want to do coloring pages, they want to react it, they want to do coloring pages, it's all of it. It's the whole gamut of it. And so like I think we want to create that sort of excitement with the Axiom Chronicles.
Totally.
Yeah. Every time there's a new show my kids get into, I have to go make a costume when they're done.
Love the logo. What is the story behind the logo?
We're getting into is some
Sharp eyes.
some
Sharp eyes.
I feel like we should give some tease though.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Dylan does that.
There's some foreshadowing happening.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah,
there's
the
a little-
logo tells its own little story, doesn't
It
it?
has a little foreshadowing of
Yeah.
what happens in our world. I'm
With
trying
the
to
help
think,
of Angel.
Yeah.
Like it told. I think it tells more of a story now than it did
totally.
in
It
the
does.
original.
I think we could need to do that next week, though. When we do our live stream next week,
Okay.
we'll dive into that.
Okay.
more detail?
More deep dive. Okay.
Just a
Ooh,
little.
sorry, I guess you'll just have
awesome.
to come back.
Austin, thank you very much.
But yes, there is a story behind it. I will say that we can give you that much.
So yeah, the eye itself. I'll give you this much.
We're just
The eye is an Axiom crystal, and that's all I'm going to say.
yeah.
But we'll get into that next week with the mythos and
Yeah.
the world that we've created here.
Some nerd history for
Yeah. Yeah.
you. Totally.
All right. Any other questions here? Oh yeah. We got one.
Andre.
When will the show come out?
Ooh.
We want to know that too.
Yeah, we've been asked that for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
For years.
and
Yeah.
we would love to answer that question.
Andre,
Yeah.
honestly, if we can get fully funded
Yeah.
ASAP,
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
would start production as soon as we get funded.
The
So,
sooner you find people express interest, the sooner.
Yeah.
that's right.
Do you have a rich uncle?
Right now we have a plan. I can tell you a little bit about season one. We have
Sure.
season one totally mapped out,
Yeah.
and scripts are in the workings right now.
Yeah.
And there's a plan to make 7 episodes for season one. And season 2 and 3 will probably have more episodes.
Yeah.
depending
Added
on
to the season.
that success.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, we're gonna see where that goes.
Yeah.
Yes, but we have a vision past season 1.
So, absolutely.
Besides being entertained, what
Connie.
kids get out of it?
Yeah.
Well, again, we're talking about merch. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think from a morally,
Life
yeah.
morals.
Life
Look at
lessons.
sweet toys for sure.
I mean,
Beyond that.
toys is my answer.
Rake has some very difficult and important decisions to make
Yeah.
on his journey, and oh gosh, how much should I say? He starts out not in the best place,
Yeah.
and to even get out of that place, he's got to make some good, hard moral decisions.
Yeah.
And then along his journey, he meets friends who are probably a little more morally centered than he started out being. And so he's going to learn along the way that there's consequences for his choices and his actions.
Yeah.
And
But there's also redemption. There's also
also redemption,
Yes.
and there is a way to take something bad and make good out of it. And he's going to learn that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, honestly, like this idea of not really being an anti-hero, you know what I mean? Like that whole, this has been so overdone nowadays. We want to have a very clear,
Yeah.
light and dark. And, does Rake start off? I mean, there's a little bit of a
I think it's kind of cool that where he
Paul
starts.
Saul
Yeah.
situation going
He
on.
kind of starts in the anti-hero territory, but I think that's a little bit on purpose to be like, okay, now let's see what happens when this character is brought out and just brought into the hero.
Really finding his calling and purpose.
I think eventually when we were kind of going through the pitches, we said at one time where it was like Rake is a victim of his circumstance.
Sure.
And it was, what circumstance is he in when we kind of are introduced to him, and then that journey of self-discovery and like who he's really meant to be instead of like what he was put into. And so, which is, I think some of the beat points that we took from like the Prince of Egypt is that, when you're introduced to Moses and he's grown, he sees like the slaves and he sees the Jewish people, but until he is appointed the architect and is down with them, he doesn't really understand.
Yeah. he doesn't
Right.
get
And
it.
then when he understands, he's like, "Oh no!
Yeah.
Like what's going?" And so those are some of the beat points I think that we kind of take from that and apply it to Rake, and obviously it's a big sci-fi twist, and there's like way more into it than that. But those were definitely some of the major beat points I think that we took from the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
Good parallels.
Yeah, that's great.
What do we got?
Jesse.
Would you ever make this a video game?
Oh, my
So-
friend. My friend.
The
Yeah.
answer is 100% yes. We will do that.
Yes, we've already
Back to the
started
merchandising.
Yeah, I mean,
some
like,
of that.
honestly,
merchandising questions.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, honestly, we already.
Get cool toys.
Like,
Keep that answer.
Yeah, like we put so much work into this thing, guys. It's unreal. Like, we actually built a side scroller, like one level, just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
we were trying to get it to play on the express interest page, but there was some issues with mobile and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. We hope to do a video game someday with all this stuff. I think it only makes sense. This world that we're building, this world we're creating, there's so many possibilities and so many different like locations and beyond these what we call the robotic lands, this desert area. It goes on beyond that, and it's really, really cool. We can't wait to hold more about it.
We actually, Dylan and I, very early on, when we were kind of fleshing out the world, we literally talked about what if it would be a nice story springboard if we designed our planet as if it had levels, like video game levels, like this area, this is what must happen, and you must do this, but you can't get to the next part of the planet until you've acquired these assets and solved these problems, and then you can move on. And I don't know that we've stuck to that completely, but the idea of kind of the planet being divided into levels is still there. I think it's always been a thing in the back of our head, like, let's make a story, but also remember that how can that story be translated to a video game?
Right.
So
Well, just more or less, we're making a world that the story lives in, but this world can, like you said, there could be video games there. As long as we're true to that story, we're able to do a lot of fun stuff with it. So I mean, it's
we've done
in the prototype stages, if you will. But
we even prototyped the VR world, like a VR experience in the Axiom world. So big bad inch.
Dane.
Dude, I like these
my
questions.
goodness.
We can't dive into that this week, unfortunately. I don't want to give too much away because we want to save some of these questions.
Maybe can we
for
just
the
say
future.
yes, though?
Can
we say yes and not just one?
Yeah, I mean, it's an epic tale, guys. I can tell you that much. And a journey that I'm going to take you on for multiple seasons. That's the dream.
There's a whole.
But season 1 will have a definite resolution to it for sure. But we
can't maybe.
That's a good question, Michael. I've had to do some dumb ancillary character voices. So what do you mean?
We all did screams.
We did all the screams.
We've all done Foley. So yes, and I mean, that's pretty common in a lot of cartoon productions. I mean, a lot of directors and producers who have to attend the VO sessions will be like, oh, you know what, we need this here, and they'll go and do that.
Step in and do it.
That can happen.
Until Joe Brogy stepped in, I really wanted to be Ray. But that just didn't work out.
You don't sound
I've done some character art for everyone in this office.
You have.
Unfortunately, it's on the wall over here, but you guys can see it.
Which is hilarious. So it sure could be.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Those are good questions so far.
Sophia. You can support it by going to
there it is.
angel.com/Axiom and smash that express interest button.
The express interest is essentially just gauging how much interest there is in the show. And if there's enough, then we kind of move on to the potential, fundraising to where we can actually
I think being Axiom evangelist is kind of
Axiom evangelist
if you can't give yourself
thank you anonymous.
But if you can't give yourself, then like maybe just sending this link to anybody that you think would be interested in this. Like that's the thing is like I think a lot more people are interested in sci-fi stories with heart and human stories than we like to let on. Like we doing our testing the waters video, we kind of tout this point where so much of the highest grossing movies in the past what was it?
The top 50 in the past 10 years.
In past 10 years have all been
Sci-fi
Or
animated.
fantasy.
or fantasy.
Yeah.
And so like, that's kind of like, thank you.
Thanks, Anonymous
Yeah,
from
man.
Texas.
And so that's kind of where we live. Like we love that kind of stuff. And so, obviously I think that those people are out there. So if you can,
And I think sharing to your social media is probably
Yes.
the biggest way to spread the word.
Yeah, right now that's what a big thing you can do at the moment, because like we said, we're a little limited with just you can express interest, but then you can share stuff, you can follow our Instagram and come check that out.
There's the Instagram account is gonna, it's already got some great images on there, some content. Yeah. And Angel, sorry, there's a fly here, guys. But they're gonna continue to help us, build that page up, and there's gonna be a lot of great content to share just through that alone. So if you can just follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, follow Angel as well for updates. Just lost our audio, I think.
Oh, okay.
Good.
We're good.
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just going to say thank you to everybody who's asking questions and donating, because I literally thought this was going to be like our moms.
Like crickets and grandmas.
And that was going to be it. Just more than 2 questions, I was kind of like the goal of the night. And I think we reached that.
Hey, Kevin, I think that the audio unplugged. Sorry, guys, we're doing a little technical difficulty of audio right now. We're getting that off. There's Kevin. Say hi to Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. We can do this podcast. It's true.
Okay, we're using a different source of audio. So
Texting him, Edison's.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so honestly, without further ado, I guess
Can we show that? I want to show them our show. Can
Yeah,
we show them our
let's
show.
do that.
Show
Let's do that.
Show everybody the
Really
thing.
exciting.
the trailer here.
Yeah. Let's be good.
I know what you're thinking. This doesn't look like it's going to end well. And you know what? You might be right. But I've been through a lot worse. Well, maybe not this bad, but still pretty bad. My name is Rake. As a baby, the Mechno Hive took me from my parents. I was raised in Power City by the cyborgs. They manipulated me into their own image, trained me as a weapon. They made me do terrible things. Eventually, I was ordered to gather organics to populate the Mechno Hive's labor camps. Everything changed when I watched a driver bot tear a baby from its mother's arms, and then turn its whip on her. Awakening a voice inside me I'd never heard before. That voice told me to defend them. All of them. In that moment, I broke every rule I was taught to obey. I knew the Hive would come after me, so I ran. They hunted me, but I made it out. It's been a crazy ride to get to this point. I've made great friends, I found my family, and most importantly, I've been called to my true purpose. If you told the old me that it would be my job to free the organics and save the planet, I would have laughed in your face and probably arrested you. But now I know, it is always been my fate.
Awesome.
There you have it, guys.
There you have it.
That was the trailer. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and please go to angel.com/Axiom to express interest.
Yeah.
Read more about the show, read more about us. You can kind of stay updated with that throughout. Thank you again, Anonymous, right there. Wow, you guys are awesome.
Also, real quick, just the people that aren't on screen that help with this thing, like Skylar Hogan and Haley Collins, Savannah Suttle, like even Kristen Zahara and Lauren Abel, like who helped with the original one. Like we're just the four faces right now. There's other people that helped out along this journey that we are completely indebted to for the rest of our lives. So just want to say thank you to you guys as well.
Yeah. Amazing.
All right. Thank you guys again.
Yeah, thanks,
and
everybody.
We will see you next week. We're going to do this again.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tune in and we'll dive deeper.
Oh, dude.
That's right.
I love these questions.
Yeah, find out more about the story.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, guys.